sixth chapter of social science, that is history part, rise of Jainism and Buddhism. About these two religions you might have found, right? You might have heard about them. You might be one of them, right? Who are Jains or who are following Buddhism. Okay. In this chapter, we are going to learn the background of the rise of Jainism and Buddhism. What was the background before the Jainism and Buddhism had come into existence? Then about Jainism and Buddhism we will learn in brief. The principles of the rise of Jainism and Buddhism. The principles what were followed by the Jainism and Buddhism, these two religions, and how was these two religions spread amongst the community, that we are going to learn in this chapter. Then this land what we live in, our country, India, here we find different cultures and different religions, isn't it? The cultures, I might have different culture, you might have different culture, our languages might be different, our lifestyles might be different, and the way we wear dress might be different, our traditions might be different, right? So we have different lifestyle. The way I celebrate Dasara, you might not celebrate it that way. You might have some different rituals, I can say, right? And if you say that we have different religions and the way we perform different rituals, for example, Muslims will have different form of prayers. Hindus will have different form of prayers. Catholics have different form of prayers, right? So our culture and religions are, in this land you will find many. So because of the different religions what we are having, the diverse culture came into existence. We have different religions, right? So this is the main reason why we are different in culture. Our lifestyles are different, our language might be different. Muslims might speak in some other language, Catholics speak in some other language, Hindus might have different languages. So the religions are the basis for having diverse culture. Amongst these religions, we have two important religions. Those are Jainism and Buddhism, what we are going to learn today. So these are two important religions, that is Jainism and Buddhism, what we are going to learn today. And Buddha and Mahavira had preached about peace, non-violence. See, I have written here. They had preached about peace, non-violence, tolerance, how to be tolerant enough in different things. Then human values, what kind of human values a human should have. These things were preached by Buddha and Mahavira, and these things are the main essence of culture was said or was preached by Buddha and Mahavira. Students, now let's learn about what was the reason for the rise of Jainism and Buddhism. At the time of 6th BCE, that is before Common Era, about 6th BCE, Indian society was divided on the basis of 4 Varnas, right? We have learned about it in the Vedic culture. At the time of 6th BCE, that is before Common Era, Indian society was divided into 4 Varnas. Those were Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. First 2 Varnas were Brahmanas and Kshatriyas. Under them, that is below first 2 Varnas, Vaishyas and Shudras had come. Okay. Then Brahmanas. Who were the Brahmanas? These are the first Varna. Who are Brahmanas? They were priests. What do you call? Pandits. They were the Pandits who used to perform or conduct yajnas. Remember, we had discussed about it in the Vedic period. So when we had learnt about Vedic period, we had learnt about all this. So Brahmanas are the first Varna who were the Pandits or priests. They used to conduct or perform yajnas. On whose behalf? On the behalf of the king or the rulers. So Brahmins, you control the Kshatriyas. Brahmins control the Kshatriyas and they were eligible to guide the kings. They were eligible to guide the king, guiding the king. So they used to control Kshatriyas. They used to perform, that is yajnas on behalf of these Kshatriyas. And Brahmins had the right to receive gifts and payments. Brahmins, the Pandits or the priests had the right to receive gifts and payments. On the basis of this, they used to survive. These were the income of Brahmins. Okay. Next, comes, next Varna is Kshatriya. That is second Varna is Kshatriya. How Kshatriyas used to survive? They used to survive by collecting taxes from the farmers. Kshatriyas used to survive by collecting tax from the farmers. Brahmins used to survive by collecting the gifts and payments. Kshatriyas used to survive by collecting the tax from the farmers. Next comes Vaishyas. Next, that is third Varna is Vaishya. Vaishyas engaged in animal husbandry. Animal husbandry means maybe rearing of animals, the sericulture or different things. Okay, Vaishyas used to engage in animal husbandry and different businesses, maybe pottery and different craft artisans they used to be. They were also called as Dvija. Dvija, they used to be called as Dvija. Dvija means twice born. They were born twice, they were believing. Okay, so that is Vaishyas were believed and called as Dvija, that is twice born. Fourth Varna were Shudras. Shudras were labor class. They used to work. They were skilled workers. They were professionally skilled workers in that section. Then all the status facilities were for the upper three castes. Like Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, they used to enjoy the status in the society and the facilities were always given to them. Women that are the different women along with the Shudras, if they see any women with the Shudras, they were called as profane. Profane means they were not religiously pure or they were not good enough. They were called called as bad in conduct. That's why women with Shudras, they were called as profane. This Varna based society created tensions and complaints. The discrimination, when we learn about this only we feel kind of bad, right? So how they used to feel when they have already faced all this. So this Varna based, that is discrimination regarding on the base of Varna, they had different tensions and complaints regarding this. So among the community they had discrimination. So it was creating tensions and complaints amongst them. The teachings of Gautama Buddha and Mahavira brought new hope for the people to have a happy life. So the teachings of Gautama Buddha and Mahavira, their preachings like peace, non-violence, tolerance, human values and no discrimination and not to make others feel bad, all these things brought new hopes for the people who were suffering. In the most of the ancient times or olden times, the agricultural practices or the process of food, that is food production, played a profound role in bringing up the changes in political maybe or religious system. The same brought the rise in the Jainism and Buddhism here. By the time of 5th BCE, that is before the Common Era, iron implements came into use. Why do we use it? For the food production. We'll learn it now. Iron blades were used in plows, became more effective and it was driven by oxen. The animals were used to plow the land. For what purpose? Agricultural purpose. This was extremely effective where this improved in the agricultural production or the food production. So they used to continuously use the oxen to drive the that is their iron blades were used over the oxen for the plowing purpose. Then the animals, that especially the oxen, were sacrificed on the basis of religious practices they believed, where they used to sacrifice oxen. What does this do? They use oxen to plow the land. They use oxen to sacrifice on the basis of religious purposes. Here the number of animals reduced, especially oxen. The lives of oxen or the number of oxen reduced. Here what happened is, since Jainism and Buddhism, these two religions, rejected animal sacrifices, this brought new hope in people for the new kind of life, for the good life. This rejected, that is Jainism and Buddhism rejected the animal sacrifice. The sacrifices of animals on the basis of religion Jainism was done in the Vedic period. When Jainism and Buddhism came, they totally rejected the animal sacrifices. This resulted in people getting attracted to these two religions, where they rejected the Vedic religion and tried to accept the Jainism and Buddhism. This is how the Jainism and Buddhism came into existence. Let's learn more about it. Now, by the time coins have come into existence for the exchange purpose, they used to use coin for the exchange purpose, and two varnas, that is the second two varnas, that is Vaishyas and Shudras, had no respect in the society. What happens? It is kind of discrimination, right? When the first two varnas are kept up and the second two varnas are kept down, it is total discrimination on the basis of varnas. So Jainism and Buddhism, what they did is, this religion totally rejected the varna system. That means the discrimination on the basis of varna was totally rejected by these two religions. Those are Jainism and Buddhism. These changed the political system and gave birth to the new religions. There are two new religions, those are Janapadas and Mahajanapadas. The changes in political system, that is administration, gave birth to the new two religions. Those are Janapadas and Mahajanapadas. These two accepted the philosophies of Jainism and Buddhism. Then religions of Buddha and Mahavira identified that the desire is the main reason for the hardship. Hardship means problems, human hardship or human problems. What was the main reason? According to the religions of Buddha and Mahavira, that is Jainism and Buddhism, the desire or human wants are the main purpose or the main reason for the hardship or the problem in the human life. So what these two did, that is Buddha and Mahavira, helped the people to overcome by preaching about, that is, peace, tolerance and about non-violence, about all these things. He started preaching and helped the people overcome from this, that is hardship, which is the main reason for this hardship is human desire or wants. They supported the simple living and totally rejected the luxurious lifestyle. Luxurious lifestyle was totally rejected. The lavish lifestyle were totally rejected by these two religions, that is Buddhism and Jainism. Then instead of Sanskrit, they preached in Pali and Prakrit. That means when they rejected the luxurious lifestyle and they rejected the total discrimination on the basis of varnas, they rejected the language as well. They didn't use Sanskrit, they started using two languages, those are Pali and Prakrit, for preaching purpose. They offered new path or lifestyle for the people by rejecting Vedic religion completely. The main purpose for rejecting Vedic religion was the discrimination on the basis of varnas. So we have learned about the reasons for the origin or the rise of Jainism and Buddhism. Today we are going to learn Jainism in brief. We are going to learn about Jainism in brief. Students, Jainism is the ancient religion. That means it was not come into existence recently. It is the ancient or the old religion. Then they believe, that is the Jainis, that is the one who follows Jainism, they believe that there is existence of 24 Tirthankaras. There is existence of 24 Tirthankaras. Who are Tirthankaras? Tirthankaras were the spiritual leaders who preached about dharma. They were the spiritual leaders. They were the spiritual leaders or the teachers who preached about dharma. So the Jainism, the one who followed Jainism, they believe that there is existence of 24 Tirthankaras. Tirthankaras are the spiritual teachers who preach about or teach about dharma. Then in 24 Tirthankaras, who is the first Tirthankara? He is Rishabha. First Tirthankara we know, he is Rishabha, and 23rd is Parshvanatha. First Tirthankara, who is he? He is Rishabha, and 23rd Tirthankara is Parshvanatha. But who is Parshvanatha? Students, Parshvanatha is the son of the king Ashwasena. Parshvanatha is the son of the king Ashwasena, and Parshvanatha believed renouncing all luxury and attain immortality. What is the meaning of renouncing? Renouncing means leaving or sacrificing. Parshvanatha believed sacrificing, leaving or letting off all the luxury, maybe money, wealth, properties. All these things are leading to unpeaceful life, or they are leading to sufferings. So that is why Parshvanatha believed renouncing or letting off or leaving, sacrificing these luxuries are going to lead towards the attainment of immortality. Immortality means there is no death. At least if the body dies, the memories will be in the people's mind. So it will lead to immortality. So what he did, Parshvanatha renounced the society. Parshvanatha renounced or sacrificed about the society, and he had become a hermit. Hermit means sadhu. We say sadhu or sage. He became a hermit. Okay, by himself. He sacrificed the society. Then what did he preach? Parshvanatha preached 4 principles. Parshvanatha preached 4 principles. These principles would lead to a peaceful life. These 4 principles leads to a peaceful life, because he believed, these desires or wants about the luxuries are going to lead one to sufferings. Understand? So the main reason for sufferings in human life was accumulation or collecting of wealth and luxuries. So he preached about 4 principles. So these principles would lead to a peaceful life or non-suffering life. So first one is non-violence. Non-violence means create hurting somebody physically, maybe killing, or mentally by words, verbally. So violence is hurting somebody. Understand? Non-violence means not to hurt anybody. This was the main principle where it would lead to a peaceful life, maybe through physically hurting or violence, creating violence, or through verbally hurting somebody by using bad words, or by your gestures making somebody hurt. This is the first preaching or first principle would lead to a peaceful life, that is following non-violence. Second one, truth. Truth, right? It is satya or truth. Leading a life with truth, or in case you have done something, conveying that, confessing or speaking only truth is also going to lead to a peaceful life or non-suffering life. Third principle is asteya. Asteya means not to steal, not to rob. Understand? So asteya means not to steal. If you don't steal, or if you have a clean or pure life, it would lead to a peaceful life. Fourth one is aparigraha. Aparigraha means not to own any property, not to own any wealth. Aparigraha means not to own any property. Let me write down here. Not to own any property. Asteya means not to steal. So these were the four principles which was preached by that is Parshvanatha. So first one is non-violence, second one is truth, third one is asteya, which means not to steal or not to rob. Fourth one is aparigraha, that means nobody should accumulate or collect the wealth or property. This is going to lead to a peaceful life. Then fifth principle of brahmacharya. Fifth principle of brahmacharya with this was preached by Vardhamana. Fifth principle with all these four principles were preached by Vardhamana. What was the fifth principle? It was brahmacharya. Brahmacharya means following a religious path, that is a religious. This mainly brahmacharya you will find in Brahmin religion. Understand? So Brahmin Varna you find it. Fifth principle, that is brahmacharya, is not getting married and following the religious path with good conduct is called as brahmacharya. So fifth principle was preached by Vardhamana. So Vardhamana was 24th Tirthankara. Vardhamana was 24th Tirthankara. Who was the first Tirthankara? First Tirthankara was Rishabha, 23rd Tirthankara was Parshvanatha, and 24th Tirthankara was Vardhamana Mahavira. So his full name is Vardhamana Mahavira. We are going to learn now. Now let's learn about Vardhamana Mahavira. Vardhamana Mahavira, who was 24th Tirthankara. He was 24th Tirthankara. So Mahavira was name which was gained by him. We will learn about it later. So Vardhamana was born in Kundalagrama. Vardhamana was born in Kundalagrama in Vaishali. He was born in Kundalagrama in Vaishali. Okay. Who was his father? Vardhamana Mahavira's father was Siddhartha, and Siddhartha was the king of Gnatrika tribe. Gnatrika tribe. Siddhartha was father of Vardhamana Mahavira, and he was the king of Gnatrika tribe. Who was his mother? Vardhamana Mahavira's mother was Trishala Devi. His mother was Trishala Devi. Vardhamana's father was Siddhartha. Vardhamana's mother was Trishala Devi. Next, in the age of 30, what did he do? In the age of 30, he renounced. Means he sacrificed, he let go, he left his family and house. For us, our family and house is very important, right? Can you imagine leaving your parents, leaving your home and going somewhere? No. So here, this takes a lot of guts and determination in the mind. At the age of 30, what did he do? He renounced. He left his family and house. Why? That you will know now. He started wandering places. He started wandering and wandered for 12 years. That is Mahavira, Vardhamana Mahavira wandered for 12 years in the search of, he had some questions in quest and meditation. He spent his time meditating. He spent his time meditating. For 12 years he has wandered places and in search of quest and meditation. At the age of 42, that is after when he reached 30, he left his family, then 12 years he wandered, then in the year 42, when he turned 42, he achieved enlightenment. He achieved enlightenment. What is enlightenment? Enlightenment is gaining knowledge, thought, knowing what is right, wrong, knowing what is, what is the gist of life, knowing about all this. In Jainism we call it Kaivalya. Enlightenment means Kaivalya. Understand? Okay. So Vardhamana controlled his senses. Now how we get angry? We feel bad, we feel sad, we cry, we get angry, right? In case something happens because of somebody else or because of ourselves, we turn angry, we become furious. We don't have control in our senses. Later when we are angry and we scold somebody or when we beat somebody, later we will understand that we did it wrong, right? So we know what is right and wrong in our consciousness. But temper is not controlled. We are not able to control our senses, right? So Vardhamana learned to control his senses and achieved power over comfort and pain. He had control over his senses and control over his comfort and pain. So he got his name as Mahavira because because of this achievement. Because of this achievement that he could control his senses, because of this achievement, he was called as Mahavira or Jina. Okay, he was called as Mahavira or Jina. Who is a Jina? Jina means a person who overcome his senses and become victorious. That means he has overcome his problems and he has control over his senses and turned victorious. These are called as Jina, and the people who follow these Jina are called as Jains. The people who follow these Jinas are called as Jains. Then that is Vardhamana Mahavira spent his next 30 years in preaching his knowledge. Whatever during the enlightenment he had gained knowledge, he had spent over preaching. He spent his 30 years in preaching his knowledge to the people who were around Ganga and Yamuna. The two rivers, which is Ganga and Yamuna, the people who live around that place, Vardhamana Mahavira spent his 30 years in preaching the knowledge what he gained after enlightenment. Then in the 72nd year of his life, when he turned 72nd, that is 72, he died. In Jains we call it as Nirvana. He attained Nirvana in the year 72. That is when he turned 72 in Pavapuri of Bihar. He died, or he attained Nirvana in Pavapuri of Bihar. Then Mahavira taught 5 vows. Vows means promises. That is, Mahavira taught 5 vows which leads to a peaceful life. You have to promise it to yourself that you will be like this. These are called as vows. Mahavira taught 5 vows. Those were non-violence, no violence by our side. We are not going to hurt somebody maybe through our gestures or physically or mentally by using harsh words. These we are not going to do. Second one, second one is not aparigraha. Second one is truth. Okay, second one is truth. Truth, that we are going to follow only path of truth. In case something goes wrong, we are going to confess it, or we are going to be sorry regarding it. We are not going to lie. We are going in the path of truth. So this is the second vow which he has taught. Third is asteya. Asteya means we are not going to steal. We can't steal. Okay, no stealing. Aparigraha, we are not going to own any property. We are not going to accumulate, over accumulation or over collecting of money, wealth, gold and everything. For whom? We become greedy, right? Our life, we dream of having a luxurious life. That is wrong, he says. This is not going to lead to a peaceful life. Because when you have too much of wealth, gold, properties, what happens? What happens? Others will have eye on it and you will be like scared, right? This is just an example. When you have too much of wealth, what happens? You will be scared. What if something happens to me? If somebody comes and kills me for this all money and property? This is just an example. These are going to only torture your mind and lead to a suffering or lead to a problematic life, he says. That is why aparigraha, that means we are not going to own any property, or you shouldn't own any property. Brahmacharya, following the religious path, not connecting with somebody or not getting married, just concentrating on the religious path. So these were the 5 vows. First one is non-violence, second one is truth, third one is asteya, fourth is aparigraha, fifth is brahmacharya. With these 5 vows, he also taught 3 principles of behavior, how to behave. He also taught 3 principles. Those were Samyak Gyan. Samyak means right, correct, perfect. Samyak Gyan. Samyak Gyan means right knowledge. Right here, right knowledge. Okay, Samyak Gyan, right knowledge. Samyak Darshan, right vision, right? You see what is right. Okay, so by seeing you have to understand what is right and wrong. So Samyak Darshan. Samyak Gyan means right knowledge. Samyak Darshan means right vision. And Samyak Charitra means right conduct or right character. Let me write here. So Samyak Gyan, which is right knowledge. Samyak Darshan, which is right vision. Samyak Charitra means right conduct. Let's revise and recall what we have studied. So Vardhamana Mahavira was 24th Tirthankara. Tirthankaras are the spiritual teachers who teach or preach the Dharma. Then he was born in Kundalagrama in Vaishali. Who was his father? Vardhamana Mahavira's father was Siddhartha and his mother was Trishala Devi. In the age of 30, he left or sacrificed his family and house. Understand? So next 12 years, that is till 42nd year, he wandered in search of quest and he meditated, and in the age of 42 he achieved enlightenment, that is called as Kaivalya. Enlightenment means Kaivalya. And Vardhamana controlled his senses. Vardhamana could control his senses and achieve power over the comfort and pain. So because of this achievement, he gained a name. He was called as Mahavira, means Jinnah, Mahavira or Jinnah. And who is a Jinnah? Jinnah means the person who has overcome his senses, who has overcome and he knows to control his senses and become victorious. And the people who follow these Jinnah are called as jinns. Understand? So next, after 42nd year, next 30 year, once he attained the enlightenment. So after 42nd year, next 30 years, he spent in preaching or teaching his knowledge what he gained in enlightenment. That he started preaching about his knowledge to the people who lived around the river Ganga and Yamuna. Who preached them? It was Vardhamana Mahavira. After 42nd year, next 30 year was he spent in preaching his knowledge. He spent in preaching his knowledge to which people? The people who were around the river Ganga and Yamuna. Clear? Okay. Then he attained Nirvana in which year? When he turned 72, that is 72, he attained Nirvana. That is Pavapuri of Bihar. He attained Nirvana in Pavapuri of Bihar. Then what were the vows which were taught by Vardhamana Mahavira? Vardhamana Mahavira has taught 5 vows. Those were non-violence. Second one is truth. Third is asteya, that means not to steal, and fourth is aparigraha, that means not to own any property or wealth, and fifth is brahmacharya. What were the 3 principles of Mahavira, Vardhamana Mahavira? Those were principles over the behavior, principles of behavior, how should we behave. 3 principles were there. Those were Samyak Gyan. What does it mean? Right knowledge. Samyak Darshan, that means right vision, right sight or right vision. That is third one is Samyak Charitra, means right conduct or right character.